Sam Silver, Undercover Pirate, Book 8, The Treasure Map, by Jan Burchett and Sarah Fogler. Read for you by Brandon Rees-Taylor on the Jesse Millette YouTube channel. Chapter 1. Sam Silver stood in front of his class and held up his ancient gold doubloon. Their teacher had asked them to bring in the oldest thing they could find for their history lesson, and his coin was 300 years old. If that wasn't history, then what was? "This is a double eagle doubloon," said Sam eagerly. "It's really ancient, and it used to belong to my lots of greats grandfather, who was a pirate." There was a gasp from the class, but Sam could see his teacher looking doubtful. "Did your parents tell you that?" asked Miss Elliot. "No," said Sam. "It got washed up on the beach in a bottle, but I know it belongs to my family because there was a letter with it that explained everything." Someone tittered near the back. "It's true," insisted Sam. "I know because—" He stopped. He realized he couldn't tell the class anything else about his special coin. There was no way he was going to let out the doubloon's great secret, that it could whisk him back in time to the decks of the pirate ship Sea Wolf, where he served as lookout boy under Captain Blade, the boldest buccaneer to sail the Caribbean Sea. Time-travelling undercover pirates can't tell anyone about their plundering adventures. "Because?" prompted Miss Elliot. Sam said at last, feeling a bit embarrassed. "That's all I can say." "Well, it's the oldest object today," said his teacher kindly. The bell rang for the end of school. "Homework, everyone," she called over its chime. "You brought in some very interesting historical items, and now you're going to write stories about them. I want you to imagine you're living back in the time of your object." Sam raced home to the flat above his parents' shop, the Jolly Cod, best fish and chips in Backwater Bay. He'd had a great idea. He bounded up the stairs to his bedroom, threw off his school uniform, and pulled on his tattiest t-shirt and jeans. Then he tipped the coin out of his backpack. He was going to have some pirate fun with his friends back in 1706. After that, he could write it all up for homework and not even miss tea. That was the clever thing about the doubloon. No time ever passed in the present when he was off buccaneering. He spat on the coin and rubbed it hard on his sleeve. "Sea Wolf, here I come," he declared. He felt the room begin to spin. The next moment he was pulled off his feet and tumbled round as if he'd been hovered up in a giant vacuum cleaner. He braced himself for the landing. Bump! He was sitting on the wooden floor of a little storeroom, which was gently rocking. Awesome! He was back on the Sea Wolf. Sam scrambled to his feet and gathered up the belt, jerkin, skyglass, and neckerchief lying in the corner. His pirate friend, Charlie, always put them ready for him. She was the only other person in the world who knew that he was a time traveller. She'd seen him appear out of thin air once, so he'd had to tell her the truth. It had taken some explaining, but she'd understood it, and now she helped him to keep his secret. Eager to see his crewmates, Sam sprang up the steps to the main deck and burst out into the hot Caribbean sunshine. The ship was moored in a bustling port where men were carrying crates and rolling barrels along the quay. There was an unpleasant smell of rotting fish wafting across the ship. To his surprise, the Sea Wolf seemed empty. He felt a shiver of worry. Where were his crewmates? Then a deep voice hailed from the foredeck. "By the Great Bear, it's Sam Silver!" A tall pirate in a tricorn hat was leaning over the rail above him, weapons gleaming in the belts across his chest. His bearded face was wreathed in smiles. "Captain Blade!" exclaimed Sam in relief. "Where is everybody?" "Shore leave, lad," the captain called. "Well, all except Peter. He's in the gallery doing some cooking. The last fish pies he made were so hard he could have used them in the cannon. I thought he'd better stay on board and practice his pastry." Sam realised that the nasty smell was coming from the galley, the ship's kitchen. He was glad he wasn't hungry. Even if Peter practised for a whole year, he'd never produce anything that didn't break your teeth or send you running for the sick bucket. "Permission to go ashore and find the others?" said Sam eagerly. "Surely you must have seen them when you came through the town," said Blade, puzzled. Porto Novo's not that big a place. Well, the thing is, Sam said, racking his brains for an excuse. He couldn't tell the pirate that he hadn't come through the town at all, but simply popped in the storeroom from 300 years in the future. Every time Sam disappeared from the Sea Wolf to go back to the present, the crew believed that he'd gone to help his poor widowed mother on her farm, somewhere in the Caribbean. But he never remembered to have an excuse ready when he appeared on board without warning, and this time Charlie wasn't around to come to his rescue. "I was in such a hurry to be with you all again," he said at last, "that I kept my eyes fixed on the ship." "Well, go and find your shipmates now," said Blade, ushering him towards the gangplank. "You've got time before we set sail." "Thank you," said Sam, relieved that the captain wasn't asking any more questions. "Ahoy, me hearty," came a squawk. A green parrot landed on his shoulder and began to nibble his ear. "Hello, Crow," said Sam, tickling him under his beak. "Did you miss me?" "You can take that bird with you," said the captain shakily. Captain Blade was the bravest man Sam had ever met, except when he was faced with a parrot. Charlie had heard it was because a pirate had pinched his toy cutlass when he was little, but all the pirates had different tales to tell. Everyone knew to keep the parrot away from Blade and pretend it was an unusually colourful crow. "Aye, aye," said Sam smartly. He bounded down the quay and scanned the crowd, looking for Charlie and their friend Fernando. He walked past shops and taverns, skirting the fishing nets and lobster pots strewn over the cobbles. There was no sign of Charlie's bright bandana or Fernando's dark curly hair. Sam was willing to bet that most of the men he could see were pirates like them, who were acting like ordinary sailors but ready to vanish in an instant if the governor's soldiers came by. Then he spotted Harry Hop, the Sea Wolf's first mate, sitting at a table outside of the taverns. Harry was playing cards, a tankard at his elbow, and his wooden leg stuck out in front of him. A scrawny-looking man sat opposite him, his card clutched secretively to his chest. Sam was about to call his shipmate's friend when Harry jumped up, knocking his stool flying. "Stormy seas," squawked the crow, tucking his head into Sam's jerkin. "Looks like it," said Sam as Harry pushed the table over, sending tankards and cards into the air. Harry launched himself at the scrawny man and dragged him to his feet. "I won fair and square," he yelled, a thunderous look on his face. "Pay up now, or it's the last game you'll ever play."